No. Okay. Let me bring out my nifty notebook here. In today's lesson, we are going to be talking about the difference between neither or neither and either or either. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Kristina and welcome back to another video lesson here with English with Kristina. I am so sorry, you guys. I know I was gone for what seems like forever, but all of that has changed now. So now we will be back into our weekly video schedule as per usual. Okay, so today's question came to me from a student on my Facebook page who asked me about the difference between these words. When do I use neither or neither, and when do I use either or either? Now you notice how each word has two different possible pronunciations. You will probably hear me using both pronunciations interchangeably throughout the video. I apologize, I know it's not very consistent. Unfortunately, that is just the way that I say it. Some people tend to say only neither and either, and some people only tend to say neither and either. I usually mix them all up. So just to make it even more confusing for you, consider it a challenge. Okay, so the first way that we can use these two words, either and neither, or either and neither, is as an adjective. Either is going to be a word that we use when we say this one or that one. It's one or the other. Okay, whereas neither is going to be not this one and not that one. Neither of them. So none, nothing. Okay, let's say, for example, if you want to borrow a book and I tell you, well, you can have either book. You can have this book or that book. You can have either one. Or if I'm not so nice, then I might say, you can have neither book. Okay, you cannot have this one and you cannot have that one. Okay, so you have either, which means you can choose one, not both, but you can choose one or the other, versus neither, which means a none. It means not this one and not that one. Our next example is when we're talking about either or neither as a pronoun. So in this case, you might start getting a little confused and you might start saying, well, Kristina, these are going to be a lot of different parts of speech. How am I going to remember all of this? For this one, all you have to remember is that as a pronoun, you're going to hear more of either of or neither of. So imagine if you're a student who wants to register for summer school and you want to take advantage of some of your free time during the summer. So let's say you're in college or university and you want to take some extra classes. So I tell you, well, you can take either of the classes. If you choose two specific classes that you want, and I say you can take either of them, they're both being offered. This means you can take one or the other. Okay, that could mean that both of those classes are being offered at the same time. So unfortunately, you can't take both of them during this one time slot, but you can take one or the other. Whereas if I say, unfortunately, neither of those classes are being offered this summer, sorry, that means not this class and not that class. But notice how in both sentences I'm saying either of or neither of. Okay, so we're basically using these words as the exact same thing, but we're just changing the word structure a little bit, the sentence structure. Whereas in the first part, where we were using them as adverbs and we said either and neither just by themselves, here we're saying either of or neither of. Okay, for our next example, we are going to use either and neither as a conjunction, okay? So as conjunctions, we are going to talk about choices when we are saying either, or the lack of choices when we're talking about neither. So for example, let's say if you have the option of eating either meat or chicken one night, and someone asks you, you can either have meat or chicken, which do you prefer? Now, in these cases, when we use either as a conjunction, we also use it with the word or. Either or. You can either have meat or chicken. Which one do you want? Okay, and if we use the word neither, then we use it with the word nor. Neither nor. Okay, so unfortunately, you can have neither meat nor chicken tonight because Mom forgot to go grocery shopping and there's no food. That would be terrible. Or, better scenario, because we're going out to eat, or because we're having fish, or something like that. Okay, you could say, I'll study either English or math tonight, but I don't have enough time to study both. Or you could say, I'll study neither English nor math tonight because I'm going out to party with my friends. Which obviously isn't the case because you're here watching this video right now. All right, for one of our last parts of speech is when we use the word either as an adverb. When we use the word either as an adverb, we are using it to say in addition, and we're using it at the end of a negative sentence. We are using it to show our agreement to a negative statement. So, for example, if you say, these books are amazing and they're easy to read and they're not that expensive either. So in addition to that, they're not that expensive, okay? But I'm saying either because they are not negative. They're not that expensive. They're this, they're that, and they're not that expensive either. Okay, so in addition, always used after a negative statement. All right, and one last note, you guys, is about informal speech or casual conversation when we use the expression me either or me neither. When do we use this? So in casual conversation, we tend to use these two words interchangeably with the word me to show that we agree with a negative statement. So you could say something like, I don't like this video that Kristina made. I don't know what she was thinking. And then your friend says to you, me either. I don't like this either. That would be terrible, but it may happen. Or on a more positive note, you could say, wow, this video was amazing. I can't imagine not watching any of Kristina's videos. And then your friend says to you, me neither. You see what I'm saying? You can use both me either or me neither here. All right, everybody, that is going to conclude our lesson today on the difference between either and neither. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions for me, then always feel free to leave them for me in the comments below, or feel free to practice your sentences. I would love to see them. And other than that, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Mwah. And let me know, like, hold on, how did I say it? No. Oh, oh my God, I cracked myself up.